Well, Nicolas Piachaud is Egypt researcher at Amnesty International, and he joins us live now from London. Thank you. First off, what do you make of the timing of these releases?
I should start by saying it's wonderful to see Mohamed and Mohamed reunited with their families, but yes, the timing of these releases was deeply cynical. It comes just before President Sisi is due to fly to New York to address the United Nations. Egypt is treating political prisoners like hostages to be released only when it's politically expedient or when the government just needs to change the story. But we should remember that Mohamed and...
But Nicholas, you say that essentially holding them as bargaining chips. Do they have that much hold over the international community? Because there has been outcry.
There's been a big outcry, but I think we should also see this really as a token release. While the UN is rolling out the red carpet for President Sisi, there are tens of thousands of political prisoners still languishing in his jails. There are prisoners of conscience who are celebrating Eid behind bars. They include, for example, Mahmoud Hussein, a young man whose only crime was wearing an anti-torture T-shirt to a demonstration. The danger now is that these become Egypt's forgotten prisoners, while the international spotlight in the international community moves on.
But hopefully they won't move on. What has to be done for them not to move on, to bring attention back to those that are still languishing in Egypt's jails?
Well, we've been very clear. We're calling on the international community, states that say that they care about human rights, not to use these releases as an excuse to hit the reset button with Egypt. We've seen that international pressure does work, but that's down to states coming together and offering a coherent message to Egypt that they need to enact serious reforms to human rights and to be governed by the rule of law. Look, the truth is Mohamed and Mohamed are out, but their space in prison is not likely to remain empty for long.
What do you mean by hitting the reset button? Resetting to what?
Resetting to how it was under Hosni Mubarak, where the international community tolerated gross human rights violations in the name of stability and security. We're very much afraid that with these high-profile activists and journalists now released, that the international community will see it as an excuse to go back to how things were. Now, that can't happen. We're calling on the US, on states in the European Union, to be very clear to Egypt that this should be the start, not the end.
Excuse me. You say that Mr. Sisi is heading to the UN. Do you envision the international community speaking out then? What would you like to hear them say?
We'd like to hear tough messages from states. We'd like to hear states calling Sisi and this administration to account for the gross human rights violations we've seen over the last few years, the hundreds of protesters killed in demonstrations and political violence, the thousands of political detainees, the torture and other ill treatment which has returned to haunt Egypt's prisons and police stations. The truth is these people have gone free, but the Egypt that they have returned to is one in which protesters must seek permission to demonstrate and where journalists must legally report on government facts and figures. They're free, but they haven't returned to a country which respects human rights and the rule of law.
Okay, Nicolas Piachaud, we will be watching those talks in the UN very closely, but thank you very much for your time.